much in tonight as we can. I promise that we will make sure that we make this worth it. Okay, so it looks like I am recording now. We have more people entering, but I'm going to go ahead and do my introduction real quick so we can get done with me. But my name is Brooke Markovichis. I'm the founder and CEO here at Be. Be is a one-stop business solution for the overwhelmed entrepreneur, and we connect our clients with our workforce of predominantly women, but we do have some men that have left the traditional 9 to 5. I started this company after about 5 years of freelancing, and prior to that, working in the tech startup world, and before that, nonprofit and education. I actually went to school to be a teacher, and so I'm excited to have lots of teachers here tonight, including some friends and family that are also teachers that are interested in potentially leaving teaching as well. I am a mom to 2 crazy children, a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old, Lily and Lucas. I live in Durham, North Carolina, and my favorite hobby is to read. This is actually not my office, it's my husband's office downstairs, but we have multiple bookshelves in our house, lots of books, big avid readers here. And that is probably my biggest hobby that I have besides running a company. And then our mission here at Be, as I mentioned, is really to get people flexible work, support small businesses, and really help people that have career change or are wanting more flexible work. And so tonight, I want to be able to share with you some really tangible ways to support you in potentially career switching, let you know some of the flexible opportunities that are out there, whether it's for once you are already leaving the workforce or in between or somewhere in there. We want to make sure that we're providing you with multiple different resources depending on where you are in kind of your situation. Okay, so I freelanced, like I mentioned, for about 4 years before I founded this company. And I left my job I was working actually at Postmates in the early days when they were at about Series B. I loved working in that fast-paced environment, but left when I had my daughter because it just wasn't flexible. Like I mentioned, I was an education major in college. I taught for years and have many friends and family in teaching. And so I have heard all the stories and many more, and I've heard many of your stories over the last month as people started to register for this event. I work with hundreds of women and men that are in our workforce that are seeking or have achieved flexibility through freelancing. And so I am going to share a lot of stuff on freelancing tonight, but I also pulled a bunch of resources for those of you that want full-time jobs as well, because I think it's important to kind of see both, see all your options before you dive in to something different in your career. So that is a little bit about why we're doing this. Things you're going to take away from tonight is how to sift through what flexible opportunities are out there, how to discover, how to identify what skills you can bring to the table. There's a lot more than you probably even think you have. Some tips on just navigating leaving the workforce and the things to think about before you leave. How community can be really essential in helping you to make that transition, as well as lead a flexible work life if you decide to leave, and then how to get started. And then a lot of question and answers. You guys gave me so many questions that I decided to not only answer a bunch tonight, but also you gave me like 20 more resources that we want to be able to provide to you guys over time. So thank you guys for being here tonight. I am going to keep us rolling so we can stay on time. So here is where everybody that registered tonight, I know not everybody can attend in person. We actually had over 300 people register for this tonight, which is crazy, but also just speaks to how crazy of a situation it is for each and every one of you teachers over the last 2 years, as well as many years before that. And so this is where all these teachers that are here tonight or had signed up for this are located all over the United States, as well as a few that are international teachers as well. Out of everybody that filled out the form prior to coming, this is about how long you guys have been teaching. So 43% were 6 to 10 years, 11 to 20 years were 38%. And then we have 1 to 5 years at 8% and 20 plus years at 8.3%. So lots of teaching experience in the house tonight, as well as 60% of you are looking to leave teaching completely. And 33% of you are not sure, and about 6% of you are looking to potentially find a side hustle. So I wanted to make sure that I provided you with as much that fit these situations, this demographic as possible, as well as answer as many of your questions tonight as we can. So if you end up having questions throughout the night that come up as I'm talking, go ahead and throw them into the chat and our team will grab them up so we can answer them after the fact. We probably won't get to them tonight because we had over 75 questions submitted. We won't go through all 75, but many of them were similar. But if you have questions, we'll make sure that we get them answered in some capacity or get you some sort of guide or template or resource to help answer your question. Okay. So if you don't know, over 2 million women have left the workforce for more flexible opportunities over the last 2 years. Many were in healthcare, many were teachers, many were in all kinds of other areas of the workforce. Wherever it was, people were wanting to leave due to the fact that they were not having those flexible opportunities. Prior to 2 years ago, 43% of women were leaving the workforce on a regular basis. So we have a problem. Not just women are leaving, men are leaving too. And we need to make sure that we're providing different solutions for people that are wanting to leave. The impact of COVID on the future of work. I'm going to just go through these things quickly, but 25%, it escalated and accelerated 25% further the existing trends that were already happening with remote work, e-commerce, automation. Companies were more willing to take on flexible workers, remote workers, and they still are. And they're going to continue to do that and continue to increase that due to the fact that people are demanding it. And they need to hire. They're having big issues with not being able to hire enough people. So 32% of employers are replacing their full-time employees with contingent workers or flexible workers because it is a cost-saving effort. Also, 12% of employers are using contingent workers or freelance workers to fill labor shortages due to illnesses with COVID or due to the Great Resignation. So this is happening across the workforce, across industry. It's everywhere, and it's impacting businesses quite significantly. Also, these are the skills that were put together by Coursera, and some of these are from Coursera, some of them are from Gartner, that were the top skills that businesses are actually looking for, that are oftentimes more soft skills or skills that can be developed across industry, across career. And I'm not going to go through all of these, but you can see that many of these you probably have. So you obviously have critical thinking, communication, mental flexibility, planning and ways of working. I'm also going to give you this deck so you can steal all of these things to put in your resume, but these are really important things that businesses are looking for. Agile thinking. If a teacher does not have agile thinking, I'm not sure who does, because you have to think on your feet constantly as you're working with children. You have to be able to iterate and adapt and change. And the last 2 years have shown that even more. You've had to do that in ways that you never expected. Also, interpersonal skills. You definitely have those too as teachers, being able to mobilize systems, role modeling, win-win negotiations, crafting an inspiring vision, organizational awareness. It can even just be your classroom awareness. Developing relationships, you're obviously really good at that. Teamwork, effectiveness, collaboration, resolving conflict, all of these things that are essential to the future of work. Because the thing is that artificial intelligence, automation cannot replace these, because these are things that really only humans at this juncture in time can handle and can take on. So it's really important that businesses are making sure that they are addressing this, putting these into job descriptions, requiring that these are the skill sets that come in to the workforce. Other ones are self-leadership, self-awareness, self-management, entrepreneurship. I know that you might not think you have entrepreneurship skills, but thinking back even to the little bit of teaching that I did and having talked to so many teachers, you are constantly having a lot of courage and risk taking. You are having to innovate. You're having to have that massive amount of energy and passion on a daily basis to show up in your classroom. So those are things that you might not think that you have the skills with, but you do. Goal achievement, and then the digital side. So lots of soft skills, but then there's a whole bunch of digital skills too that you have that you might not be aware of. So one of the biggest things that's going to set people apart over the next 10 to 15 years in the workforce is digital literacy. And what that means, if you don't know, is just basically how to utilize the digital world into your career. So sometimes it is software use and development. You might not know how to do all of that and be a programmer or anything like that. That's fine. But you probably do understand a lot of different things with digital learning. I'm pretty sure most of you had to adapt to digital learning as a teacher by teaching in it and consuming it in some capacity. Digital ethics, collaboration, you had to do a lot of those. And so you stand apart with some of the workforce because you have that skill set. And then other things are digital systems, tech translation, cybersecurity, all of that. And these are skills that can be learned if that's something that you become interested in over time. Here's more on digital literacy. I'm not going to go into a ton of it, but these are things that the workforce will be looking for over time. Okay, so these are the top positions for career switching teachers. And there is a lot of stuff out there for career switching teachers, but we made sure that we actually pulled all of the data for jobs that are actually being listed out there right now that include the skills that I just talked about in their job descriptions in some place, as well as the skills that you've acquired additionally as a teacher over the last 6 to 10, 11 to 20, even 1 to 5 years if you're a new teacher as well. These are some skills and jobs that you might have never even thought about or considered that you actually have potential to get. So a lot of people that asked questions and submitted things for this event said they were really narrowing themselves down into like going into ed tech or going into like maybe potentially HR. A few of you mentioned that. And then most of you mentioned like nonprofit or maybe into higher education. The thing is that there are so many other careers out there for you, and I don't want you to limit yourself. Some of the jobs that are listed here can be freelance jobs. Some of them can be full-time jobs. There's lots of combination that is listed here for you to be able to dive into. We are going to give you a whole bunch of resources on the top places that are hiring for these specific jobs, as well as we're going to give you what job description elements to look for in these specific jobs and a whole bunch of other stuff. But these are the top jobs that a teacher could switch into. There are a whole bunch of other jobs out there that you could, but these are the top ones based off of the skill sets that people are looking for and that you're able to bring to the table. Jobs that we oftentimes are looking for at Allaby to place with our clients specifically are all of these: marketing assistant, HR generalist, virtual assistant, website design, graphic design, content creator, technical writer. All of these jobs are definitely something I would hire a teacher for. I know for a fact that the majority of you could do a lot of these jobs. And if you couldn't do all of them, maybe you don't have full skill set in graphic design, but you could learn it pretty quickly. And so there's a lot of jobs that there's just a few skills you need to learn. You don't need to go back to school and get a full degree on it. Sorry, because teachers, you probably you tell people to go to school, but you don't have to. There are so many free trainings out there. There's so many certifications that you can go and get that are going to save you a lot of time instead of having to dive into multiple years of work. At this point, I'm assuming if you're wanting to career switch, there's 60% of you that are wanting to get out of teaching, that you're ready for that next step. You don't want to have to go do something else for quite a few years before you can transition out of that into another career. So these are the things that we oftentimes hire for that are very freelance specific. But even some of the jobs on the previous page, we have placed for as well, especially like UX designers, and sales, customer success, quite a few of those, project management that we also place. So, whoops, sorry, that got pulled into. Okay, sorry, we went all the way back for some reason. The joys of doing things in the evening. Okay, companies hiring. These are the top companies that have the most openings for those jobs that I mentioned previously. These are the jobs that are predominantly in ed tech. So definitely ed tech is a great career path for a teacher. It's not the only career path for a teacher. There's obviously sales positions and customer service and customer success and project management and all of that at other jobs and other companies. But ed tech companies, you are going to have a leg up because you do have an education background. And that's definitely going to help you. One of the resources that we're going to give you when we send out an email tomorrow with the recording is you're going to see a bunch of specifics about each one of those actual positions and what you should be looking for in job descriptions that you can pull out and basically amplify that you're really good at. So we'll make sure that you get all of those resources to help support you as you start to go into looking into these jobs. One of the things that I'm going to give you as a homework assignment is to go look at some of the jobs at these specific companies and also go look at the companies and what their missions are. If you're a teacher, you likely got into education, not for the money. You probably had a passion to teach others. And so I know that I am very passion, mission, impact-driven person. That's why I created the company that I did. And I need to have that mission and impact whenever I'm going into a job. And you likely probably do too. You probably have burnt out a bit in teaching and why you want to leave. I burnt out of nonprofit work, and that's why I left and went into tech. It was not an easy transition at first, and I had to find my path. But one of the things that was really helpful for me was to see how much impact I could have in tech, because I needed to know that I could have that impact when I switched careers. So we'll look at all of these companies. Some of them have amazing missions and visions behind them that will help you to feel even better about applying and getting excited about these jobs and what you can bring to the table. So one of the number one things that people asked in all of the questions that were submitted were whether LinkedIn is important. Is that the place to go? You guys have probably not had to look for a job except for in education for a long time. And probably a lot has changed since you were looking for a job. Stuff changes every day. So you're not totally behind, because I feel like a lot has changed even in the last few years when it comes to looking for a job. But LinkedIn is still very popular. And the reason it is because usually it's one of the first things people are going to do when they're looking you up. So they're probably going to type your name in, and your LinkedIn is likely going to show up, or they're going to type you right into LinkedIn to see, do you have any connections that overlap with them? They might want to look at that before they even look at a resume. You also can submit your LinkedIn profile and upload a resume to apply to jobs. And it's actually a really nice and easy way to apply to a lot of jobs. So you are going to want to set up a LinkedIn. So we have actually a whole LinkedIn training in Allaby in our community membership, but I wanted to go through and tell you a little bit about the best ways to set up your profile. The fun thing about LinkedIn over the last year is that they tried to make it a little bit more creator friendly, not as boring, I guess, too. And so they've made different ways that you can interact with others through your LinkedIn profile. So you obviously can have your cover photo, which is that up there with me and the kids, and you can talk a little bit about who you are. So obviously you're not just an educator. You have other things in your life that are important to you. Maybe you have been featured in some sort of article, or maybe you have done something that is worthy of sharing up there. I mean, obviously it's worthy just to be a teacher. So please make sure that you honor that and sell that, because people are looking for teachers to hire. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. But you also want to make it appealing to others to look at. So one of the ways that you can do that is obviously have a friendly picture of yourself. So if you don't have a headshot, which you probably have not done a headshot in a long time, find somebody in your community or even your family member, cell phones are really good now, that can take a picture of you up against a blurred wall or a plain wall, that you can have a nice professional picture on your LinkedIn profile. That's really important because that's going to be the first thing people see. So make sure you have that picture. Also, another thing that LinkedIn added in, as you can see around my picture, there is like a purplish blue circle. So if you're on LinkedIn, especially on the app on LinkedIn, you actually can see a video of me. And I talk about how important the future of work is and why that's something that I focus on. But you can talk about anything in that like 60 seconds. So that's another way for people to get to know you and you to kind of stand out against the crowd is for you to have a little video there. The other thing is that you want to start posting and talking. I know this is not always the most fun thing to do, but you can write about just about anything. But find things that you're passionate about or you're interested in and start writing stuff and using the hashtags that are important to you. So for me, I write a lot about startups, obviously Allaby, but leadership, entrepreneurship, project management, small business owners. Those are the things that I talk about, but maybe you talk about instructional design or education or teachers transitioning to a new career, any of those things. Just start talking about different topics and writing little things about them. One, it shows your writing capabilities so people can see your writing skills. They can see that you can put together a post and use technology and use social media. And it gives you a place like a landing page, almost your own website, to highlight the things that you've done, as well as the things that you're interested in. And so that is really valuable when someone is looking at your resume or your LinkedIn profile. So you would obviously just have your name. Mine has Scaling Made Simple because I also have a newsletter through LinkedIn that I've been growing over the last year. And so that's another thing that people come find me for. There's also the ability to update your, you can say open to, and you can say new roles or collaborations or different things. So you can update that to say that you're open to new roles so people can see that you are looking for a position. This will allow recruiters to reach out to you and potentially reach out to you and offer new positions that are coming available. So this is a great thing to do, is to make sure that you're saying you're open to it. And then also follow companies that interest you and company leaders. So kind of going back to that ed tech list of companies that are hiring currently, follow those companies on LinkedIn. So follow them and then also follow maybe their company leader. So you can also start to see what they're doing and like their post, comment on their post, read more about them and see what you're interested in. and follow people that are a part of that company. It's going to give you more contacts at that company. It's going to give you more visibility at that company. So it can be really valuable for you. The other area that you see here on the LinkedIn profile is providing services. So as you start to decide what skill sets, jobs, services that you want to provide, especially if you decide to go some of the freelance route, you can add these here so people can know that you're able to do digital marketing, virtual assistants, copywriting, lead generation, whatever it might be. That allows people to be able to search for people that have the skill set and provide the service, as well as they're going to be able to see this when they come to your page. So those are kind of my top tips on LinkedIn. That is really short and really crazy. I know that was fast, but I am also going to give you guys a longer LinkedIn training on the resources that we'll give to you after tonight. But this is just a first few things to start thinking about on LinkedIn. I do think it's probably one of the most important things you could start now, even if you're not planning to leave teaching for a while. Start doing this. You don't have to say you're open to roles yet, but just start adding to your LinkedIn profile. Okay. Trainings and resources that are coming to the Hive are already there. I've been talking about quite a few different things tonight, and I wanted to leave so much time for questions because there were so many questions. And I think that that's the most valuable way to learn sometimes is to hear what other people are asking, the questions that they have. But I wanted to let you know some of the things that we will be sharing both in our community portal, as well as some free resources to you guys as well, and a few more workshops and webinars that we're going to be doing. There's no way we could have fit it all into tonight, but through all of the questions that you asked, these are some of the things that we put together that we want to be able to provide to you in the future. So one of them is how to read and understand a job description, because it's really important to be able to understand, one, what you're getting yourself into, two, what things are super essential for that job, and the things that like are kind of okay to not worry too much about. There's a lot of times, and I know when I was career switching, I got so hung up on the fact that I don't have all of these skill sets to be able to do this job. I just can't even apply. So that was my mindset. But it wasn't until somebody told me, actually, I did a similar workshop where they told me you only need to be able to do like 25% of this job description, because what business owners and companies do is a lot of times it's just a copy and paste situation for a job description. A lot of times it's not even the full look at the job as a total essence. And so it's really important to kind of understand how to decipher that. The other one is to nail your elevator pitch. So as you start thinking about this career switch, you're going to want to tell a lot of people. And I know that can be kind of scary, but you want to be able to tell them what you're interested in looking for, because you never know who's going to be able to hook you up with a job or be able to connect you with somebody that's hiring or help you get some resources or some trainings. You never know who's going to be able to help you. And so you want to be able to say, I was a teacher for 10 years and I absolutely love instructional design, and I'm really interested in getting started, and I would love to work at this company or this company. It obviously will sound a lot better than that, but you want to be able to nail that so you can have like that quick, like less than 30-second pitch that you could tell anybody that you're talking to exactly what you're looking for and a little bit about who you are. The next one is how to battle imposter syndrome. This was a big thing that came up in a lot of questions that were asked from all of you. This is something we did a training on not that long ago, and it comes up all the time. It's really hard to navigate this, but it's something that everybody deals with. So don't think that you're alone in that. The other one is how to create your job achievements journal. This is something I think everybody should do, whether you're career switching or not. A lot of times we don't celebrate the things that we've done in our career, and probably even as a teacher, you haven't celebrated these things. But there's so many achievements that you can write down that are things that you can share in your resume, because people want to see, what did you achieve? a lot of times when you're joining a company later on, you've been working there for a while, they want to see those KPIs or those things that they can track, that return on investment, all of those things. Those are all just achievements. And so we want to be able to make sure you can collect all of those achievements that you can use in a resume. And then how to write a transition resume. There's a little bit of an art to it, but it's something that's really easy to do when you bring in those job achievements, you understand that job description, and you understand that a lot of it is keywords that you get into your resume, so it shows up in that applicant tracking system. The other thing is when to know, how to know, or when to know when to make the jump. I know that as a teacher, it's kind of an art to figure out the time to make this transition before you sign your next contract. And so this is something that it's really kind of delicate to navigate. And so actually I have somebody that's going to come in and help teach this, that transitioned out of being a teacher and knows a lot about contracts. And so that's something that we're going to be offering. And then how to navigate networking. Networking has been something that has been super helpful in my job transitions throughout my career, throughout lots of people that I know. Kind of goes back to that elevator pitch. But a lot of times people think that networking can only be in person. There's so much networking you can do online too. And LinkedIn is a really helpful resource for that. And so another training will be on how to navigate networking. And so some of these will be resources that we're going to throw into a Google Drive that you're going to be able to grab up a bunch of these. Some of these are going to be in our community portal as well. And trainings and certifications. Like I mentioned before, you don't need to go back to school for lots of years to be able to career switch. There's so many certifications that are out there that are under 6 months, under 3 months, just a month. And so some of the ones that we offer here at AllowBe, we're doing a summer coding boot camp. We have Facebook marketing certification, IBM cybersecurity, Google data analyst, Google UX designer, and virtual assistant training. So one of them is our virtual assistant training, which Bree, if you are here, I'm going to let you unmute yourself. So one of the amazing things about AllowBe is that a lot of our experts create trainings and support for everybody that's a part of our community. And one of those people is one of our virtual assistants that has kind of moved out of virtual assistants in so many ways because she's done so well in her business. But she transitioned into freelancing, and she also now is teaching a lot of virtual assistants. So she has a training program that she provides for our Hive members at a super big discount. It's about $100 if you're a member at AllowBe. So Bree, if you're here and want to just pop in and say hello, and maybe a little bit about your own career transition.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me. First of all, Brooke, we have been on a journey together over these past few years.
Oh, there we go.
See.
Yeah, you're good. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you guys for having me. Brooke and I have been together since the beginning with her company, which has been amazing. But like she said, over the past 4 years, I've transitioned from being just a VA to now teaching VAs and teaching people who are looking to become VAs how to do it successfully. I myself had to kind of navigate jumping from my career. I had an infant at the time. He was about 6 months old. And it just got to the point where I could no longer do the 9 to 5. It just didn't work for me. And it took me a few months to kind of figure it out. But once I made that transition, I mean, I've been full-time since then, and I would never consider going back. I can't do it. But yeah, like Brooke said, I do offer a training for members of AllowBe. I like to give my girls and my guys who are with us a really nice discount to get in and get the training that you need, because like she said, you don't have to go back to college for 4 years. It's a 7-week training, and it really just gives you the basics of learning how to set up your business, how to get set up on social media, like she was talking about on LinkedIn. I have a couple other platforms as well. And then also how to organize your business and how to make sure that you can actually facilitate and get work done for other people, because there's a whole back end to our business that we figure out and we're like, oh, wow. So I coach you through that as well. And like I said, it's a 7-week program. And honestly, I'm just here because I love to help. And I know that the teaching industry right now, you guys are under a lot of stress and there's a lot going on. And I would be more than happy to help you if you need.
Thank you, Bree. And one of the things that I love about the virtual assistant position in general is that you get to learn so much about businesses that you work with, and you're going to learn the technologies that they're working on, the systems that they're working on. And those are fundamental in helping you get a job, honestly, because companies are going to be looking, do you know how to use Asana? Do you know how to use client relationship management databases? Do you know how to use all of these different things? And this is a way for you to get hands-on experience doing that, get paid for it too. And also virtual assistant work, you can have it as a full-time thing like Bree has been able to do, but you also can do it even more flexible. So this is one of the positions that I do believe that you could start even as a teacher. I do think it's something that you could do on the side. I know you all work an insane amount. My brother is a music educator here in North Carolina, and I rarely see him because he is constantly teaching or with the band or with something that's going on with school. And I so admire that. But I do feel that still with that, I think I could even get my brother to get in on this with virtual assistant work, because it can be so flexible. It can be on your own time. Oftentimes, especially with many business owners. And the great thing about how we set up jobs here at Allaby, and I'm not going to talk a ton about us tonight, but we do have options where it's just 10 hours a month that you're working for a client, maybe 20 hours a month that you're working for a client that you can do completely off the time that you're a teacher. And so it is a great way to kind of get that on the job training, but paid for it in many ways. To help you get set up for an even better career after this. It also is a great setup for marketing jobs eventually, because you're going to learn a lot about marketing while you're working with a business owner. So those are definitely things that are great ways. I know that Bree is actually doing our Facebook marketing certification right now to upskill even more. But these are just great things that you can get involved with that can help you as a business owner. One of the certifications, Google UX design, if you are looking into getting into instructional design or development, that's one of the key skills that they're looking for to kind of be the higher level instructional designer, is to have that UX experience, because it's not just about the training documents. Now it's also taking it further with the actual digital documents, the digital experience that users are going to have. And so the more experience that you can have with UX and UI design can be really valuable to set you apart in the career hunt. Okay, so that was a lot. I know. I want to go through some of the questions we have, and I promise I will finish on time. We have about 15 minutes to go through questions, and I'm going to give you a homework assignment, and then I'm going to tell you how you're going to hear more from us. Like I said, I wanted to pack as much into tonight as I could, but I can only pack but so much. So I promise I'm going to give you a lot of free resources, as well as give you some opportunity to join other events with us here at Allaby. Okay, so questions that came in that you might be asking yourself, because that's often the case, is one was, how can I adopt my teacher resume for other jobs outside of education? So like I mentioned, we are going to do a whole training on this for that whole transitional resume. But one of the biggest things for you to understand is that you want to look at kind of those skills that I put in the first few slides that we were talking about, those skills, the digital literacy, the leadership, all of that. You're going to want to take not just, I worked for 10 years as a social studies teacher in Maryland. You're going to want to make sure that you're actually talking about that instructional design, that you had to go virtual for 2 years and teach virtually in a digital environment. You're going to want to pull out those things that really are those key words that go back to that list that I mentioned before. Those are going to be some really important things for you to do. We're also going to provide you with a template of a resume, as well as a career changer resume, as well as a cover letter that will help you. Cover letters are key, I think, no matter what you're looking for to career switch, because it's your time to tell your story. And people hire good storytellers. So that's a really important skill set to have that I'm pretty sure most of you probably are good at. Another question was, how can I, oh, sorry, that was the one. What careers align with my skill set? We talked about some of those at the beginning of some of the jobs that could potentially align with your skill set. And then the next one is, how do I know if I'm really ready to leave? That is a hard question for anybody to answer but yourself. But we are going to do another training, and I actually have the 5 tips in a document for you that we'll share tomorrow that just go through kind of the 5 questions that you should be asking yourself. And then also one of the biggest things, and I tell this to everybody that's career switching or trying to make the jump to freelancing, I talk to a lot of people about this, is you need to take some time to have a money date. And that's going to be one of your homework assignments. But you need to get real about how much money you need to actually make if you're going to leave. And you need to understand what your runway is. Like if you know, okay, I'm going to stop teaching before this next year starts, before the next fall starts, and I can get away with like 5 months of looking for a job potentially, or I only got 4 months runway. You need to really make sure you know what you can get away with and how much bandwidth or runway you have to get going into a new career. The other part about that is you're going to want to really look into whether, do you need benefits? Do you not need benefits? Look into options for benefits for freelancers. There are so many more resources for freelancers than there have ever been before. When I started freelancing 7 years ago, there was hardly anything. Now there are specific banks for freelancers. There are benefits like resources set up for freelancers. One of our partners, Catch Benefits, that's fabulous, that will help you literally. It'll take the money out of your bank account, so you don't have to worry about dealing with making sure that that's out for taxes. They have ways to get health benefits, IRA, 401k, all of that. So there's so many ways to navigate that in a very supportive environment than there were years ago. So you definitely want to have this money date. The other question was, will I need to take additional time to learn new skills outside of work hours? So twofold. I definitely don't want you to have to go back to school and spend years, but you are going to have to take a little bit of your time to learn new skills outside of those work hours. It's not necessarily learning tons of stuff, but more really acclimating yourself with what these new jobs look like. So one of the really great resources, kind of going back to LinkedIn, which I'll give the link for this too, is LinkedIn Learning. It's free. There's tons of free videos and resources about just about everything. They have an instructional design area. They have a copywriting and marketing and just about any of those careers that I mentioned before. You can go and watch videos on, learn from people that are in that field, and just immerse yourself and figure out what skill sets they have that you need. And so that's one of the things that I would suggest starting to do to get yourself kind of thinking about what you need to learn. But you will have to spend some time. And that's kind of just inevitable for any career switch. You're going to have to spend a little bit of time. And then it just depends on what you're moving into, how much you're going to need to put in outside of it. And then also just how many skills you currently have. How techie are you? How much marketing do you know? Like all of those different things that will really be kind of determining what that looks like for you. Someone asked, are there summer internships for adults? There actually are. So one thing that if you guys are coming to me because of Ashley or Hitha or Julia, because they were all sharing things out, they're all friends of mine. And we've been putting together a list of companies that are for sure hiring for teachers. And so I've actually been reaching out to some of them to talk to them about doing potential summer internships or days where you're able to go and learn more about that company, about the careers that they have to offer for teachers. So that is something that will be coming in the summer here at Allaby. Some will also have the opportunity to have paid internships. Last summer, what we did for virtual assistants, marketing assistants, and a few other positions is we actually had the ability for our clients to sign up for a cheaper option with an intern, but you still got paid at least $15 an hour. And so we made sure that our experts were still getting to get paid, but they were newer into that career. So maybe you become a virtual assistant through Bree's course and you decide that you want to have one of those internships this summer to get a few new clients at the first to kind of get your feet wet in there. That's an opportunity, as well as some of these companies that we're going to partner with over the summer. And then what are some available options? What training do I need? How do I find options? I'm going to give you so many things. I really believe in the democratizing the access to freelancing and flexible work. I don't believe that you should have to pay a lot of money to be able to access this. But I do know how much information is out there, how overwhelming that can be, and how time poor we all are, and how much cognitive overload that can cause. And so I do believe in curation of all of these things. So we're going to curate some of it, and I'm going to tell you about some other opportunities for you in just a minute. How to look for jobs that go with current skills from education. So definitely ed tech, definitely those jobs that I listed before. Start looking at some of those positions that are out there and what skills you have and what skills you need based off of those job descriptions. How to negotiate a salary. I am totally not the person to ask about this for lots of reasons, but I do have someone that's really, really good at negotiating salaries and loves to talk about this. And so we're going to bring her to talk about this in the near future. But first, let's get you all ready to actually apply to these jobs and start looking for them and applying and getting interviews. And then we'll make sure we get you some help on negotiating salary. Okay, I know we're like 10 minutes out. One question was how to revamp a resume for a different career field. We talked a little bit about this. We're going to give you some more resources there. What a realistic side hustle for someone with a busy full-time job could be. There's so many ads out there for all of the things. Yes, there is a lot of shiny object syndrome, a lot of what do I pick? What do I go with? And I'm sure like Bree and some of the other team members that are here tonight could attest to a lot of this. There's a lot out there, and it can be overwhelming. I do believe that side hustles can turn into full-time flexible careers very well. It worked for me. It's worked for hundreds of people that work for us at Alubi, and hundreds and hundreds more that will come into the fold eventually. I think that the key with it is understanding how many hours you actually have to give to helping move yourself forward. Like I mentioned with virtual assistant and some of the other ones, some of the certifications and different things, those are really valuable to help you move forward. Some of them you can get paid for while you're doing it. If you are a really good writer and you're a teacher, copywriting, editing, proofreading, helping to build digital courses, there are so many things that you probably already have the skills for that you could start freelancing right away. So one thing that I'm going to let you all do at the end of today is you're going to be able to actually, you'll probably get it tomorrow in the email, but you're going to get to fill out a form that if you have any of these skill sets that we're going to list, copywriting, editing, proofreading, a bunch of skill sets that we have at Alubi, we will look over something that you send to us. So some sort of portfolio or samples of work or whatever it might be, or just your experience that you've had in the past. And if you qualify to move into our actual workforce based off of your skill set, you're going to be welcomed in with open arms, and we will help you get jobs. So that's what we do here at Alubi, is help take away that headache of having to market yourself and find those jobs, and we bring them right to you in a very flexible way. So those are things that we're going to offer to you as well. And other questions, how to stand out with so many teachers leaving at the same time. There are plenty of jobs. So many people are leaving the job, like the career, workforce, everything, that companies are struggling. And so it's going to be plenty of space for everybody. I think the key is to be a really good storyteller. And so that's going to be key in your cover letter as well as on your LinkedIn. And, you know, kind of going the extra mile. I know all of you teachers like already go all the extra miles. all the time. So that's going to kind of help set you apart in general from other people that are applying to the jobs, not just teachers. But we'll give you some resources to stand out. And then how to find the time and energy to do something else while teaching. You've got to like really harness down in all of your gut, that energy that is driving you to leave teaching. And I know that it can be really hard to like get through some of those emotions and handle, and then especially to find that energy, but what is it going to look like on the other side? Really think about where you want to go. So whenever you're tired and don't feel like you have that time and energy, you can harness that to get you to the finish line, to get you to where you want to go. And affirmations, like I know, like positive self-talk, there's a lot of that has to go on. So you can really find that time and energy to get to the finish line. It's hard. And like as a startup founder, working all the time, having kids, having a family, all of that, it's hard to find that time and energy, but remember why you're doing it, what your intent is, and why you want to get to that finish line. And then the other question is, how do you get over that imposter syndrome when looking for jobs? Definitely a super hard one. We definitely have some trainings on imposter syndrome, but the best advice someone gave me, and this is a little bit different because what the advice was in reference for me going out and raising funding for my company. But they told me to walk into the room and act as if I was basically Mark Zuckerberg or any white techie guy from Stanford that would be given any money. And so I just have to walk in with that energy, with knowing that I am supposed to be there, I am meant to be there, and I am going to get the money. And so that's how I have to show up when I'm pitching for things for Allaby. But for you going into this career search is knowing that you have amazing skills from being a teacher. If there is a career on this planet, maybe two, healthcare workers and teachers, I would say are the hardest working people that there ever were. And the most genuine, the best storytellers, the most unique, and the best people to hire. I'm really big about hiring moms too, because we've got a lot of amazing moms out there that also kind of don't get looked at as having the best skill sets, which is crazy because they have all of these skills from being a mom. But it's the same thing as being a teacher. You have so many skills to offer and bring into the workforce that ed tech companies, big other companies, anybody out there is going to be lucky to have you. And you just need to make sure that you remember that every time that you're walking into a room or an interview or applying to a job. Also know that every no is closer to a yes. So every no is closer to a yes. When you do get those rejections, you're going to get them. Lots of people are going to tell you no on the job hunt before you get a yes. And that's okay, because that's not the right job for you. That's not the place that you're supposed to be. And then there's something better out there for you. So you have to remind yourself of that. Okay, there's lots more questions, but we're running out of time. So I am going to skip this slide. I'm going to go to our homework. So your homework is to set up your LinkedIn or redo your LinkedIn, start working on that. I want you to have a money date, thinking about how much you need, how much runway you have, and when you think you can make that leap based off of that. Also, look into some alternative benefit options like catch benefits to figure out if maybe the freelance route would work for you. Also research jobs at some of those top companies that are hiring. Look at them. Do they interest you? Does the company interest you? And start making a list of ones that you want to follow on LinkedIn and maybe connect with people on LinkedIn that are from that company. And then the last one is to consider joining our Hive for more support. I firmly believe that to make a career switch, to kind of go into the unknown, you need community around you and people that can support you and help provide that, help you get through those imposter syndrome days, help you figure out which the next skill to upskill to be able to ask questions to be mentored to. I think that community is really important. And so we do have a community here at Allaby that we provide to anybody that is looking for flexible work, that is in this in-between phase of life, that is wanting extra support in both business and in life. So we believe here at Allowbe that we're the #1 place for people that are seeking flexible work. Our whole team has career switched in some direction. And so we're pretty good at sharing all of our experience with you, and not just our team, but our whole workforce of over hundreds of women and men that have left that traditional 9 to 5. We've really been through what you're going through. We have lots of teachers as well that have left their careers that are now freelancing. I do believe that community makes you better. We provide free certifications through Coursera and other platforms for our members. So if you're a member at Allowbe, we pay for your certification to get certified at Google, IBM, Facebook, all of the different certifications. We pay for that until you get it done. We try to get you done in 6 months so you can get to that finish line, but we pay for that. We also curate trainings and bring in trainings like Bree is doing for affordable ways to get you the skill sets that you need, or free trainings that we have that our community puts together, or we bring in speakers to get to you. Also, we bring the jobs to you. We have our clients come to us, we find out what they need, and we bring the jobs to our workforce, and we handle all of the details to make it really easy and simple for you, so you don't have to worry about even setting up too much of your business to get started and going as a freelancer. So you can learn more about the Allowbe Hive. I think Alex is still here. If she is, she can drop the membership link here in the chat, and you're welcome to look at it. You're welcome to completely forget about it too. I just want you to know about this. This is another resource that potentially could be something that you find value in, whether it's now or in multiple years from now. We will be here. You also can always contact us at hello@allowbe.com if you have any questions. We are literally an open book and here to support you, so feel free to email us at any time. We also want to offer 50% off for all teachers to join our membership. This is 50% off forever. So we have an annual, a quarterly, and a monthly membership here at Allowbe. That's the option that you can join with us. So you can come and join us for a month and take as much as you need and then leave and never come back. Or you can come in and you can take a quarter or a year, but you can have that 50% off forever as a teacher, and come and use it when you want it and you need it. Come get certified and then go off and get an amazing job, whatever that might be. But we would love to welcome you in to Allowbe if you are interested, but literally no pressure. We will send a link with the recording, as well as a whole bunch of resources that I talked about tonight, as well as which ones will also be in the Hive. Some of it we are just going to do for our internal members because it's a lot more that we're going to put into it, but we have a ton of resources to share with you. We also, if you're free tomorrow, we have a coffee and co-working event that we're doing, that we do almost every Friday, that you can join and come and be a part of. We also do yoga and meditation and speakers and all kinds of stuff in the Hive. So we welcome you to attend when we have events that are both outside and available to all, or internal here at our community. But thank you so much for being here. I know I talked a bazillion miles a minute, so sorry about that. But please stay in touch. You'll get an email tomorrow from us recording the deck that I just went through, all of this, all the resources that I mentioned, and a few more things that I probably didn't. And we'll also link Bree's course, whether you want to get it super discounted if you're a member at Allowbe, or if you want to pay outright for it as well. We'll make sure to link that as well if you're wanting to get into the space of being an awesome virtual assistant, which we need more of them at Allowbe. So that is another thing. But yeah, definitely stop by and say hey if you want to. Yes, we'll be sharing the recording. No worries for everybody here. I know there's lots of questions. I'll go back through the chat and make sure. Oh, someone just said, what is a virtual assistant? That's a great question. So I'll end with that. A virtual assistant is someone that is going to support a business owner whether they're a small business owner, solo entrepreneur, bigger entrepreneur, whatever it might be. They're there to help them with administrative tasks, potentially some digital tasks that they're working on in their business, and helping to keep them, honestly, my virtual assistant just helps keep me in line, honestly, as a business owner, helps to support me, helps to make sure things get on my calendar correctly, make sure that I am set up in my project management systems, all kinds of different things that a virtual assistant can do. And kind of the sky is the limit with it. You also can niche into different areas, become more of a marketing assistant, a technical assistant, all kinds of different things. So there's lots of really good opportunity there, but it's a really great place to start to get kind of into the freelance space. So thank you for being here tonight. We'll send out this recording by tomorrow. If you have any questions in the meantime, just email hello@allob.com. And thank you so much, everybody, for being here tonight. And thank you even more so for all that you do for every child that you teach, because I would not be able to run this company and provide all of this for everybody if I did not have amazing educators that take care of my children. And you guys are completely underpaid and underappreciated. So and this is just the little bit that I can provide. But I hope that we can continue to provide more and more for you guys over time. So thank you for all that you do. And I appreciate you. So thank you. Have a great night.
And before you guys go though,
yes,
I did just drop the coffee and co-working into the chat. If anyone wants to sign up for that tomorrow, you get to meet other Hive members. I'm Alex, the community manager. Hi. But we would love to see you. Just pop on in. If your kiddos are home, that's totally fine. We all are just drinking coffee, getting work done, and catching up and getting to know each other. So we would love to see your faces as well. And thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. And we'll definitely drop some other events that you can be a part of in the future too, in the email that we'll send out tomorrow. Have a great night, everybody.